Southwest Tech for Monday, August the 19th to order. Our first item on the agenda is welcome to public comments. Anybody online? That's Frank.
Public comment I have, there's a vote coming up September for a turf field. It's not really repairing Manelli Field, it's for turf. And I just want to highlight some things that's probably going to start affecting this board. You got a 40% increase of inflation, okay? Agency of Education just gonna hit property tax owners with 14% increase. That's a given. That's gonna happen, and that's the way it is. People that are on homestead taxing are gonna get hit with a 4.5% increase. Some of these people are gonna take almost a 20% increase. Now, if you're paying $7,000, and I just did some quick math, but it sure is right. You're gonna take almost another $1,000 hit. You're paying $5,000 a year for property taxes, you're gonna take about a $750 hit. You're paying $3,000, which is probably about what the average person is paying around here, you're gonna take a $500 hit. Now, they don't know what in hell this turf field's gonna cost, really, if you think about it. And they keep saying, oh, it's for the education of our kids, that's a bunch of crap. Because as far as I'm concerned, you can only go to that water hole so often, and people are gonna get sick of it. What concerns me is the tech center. I think the tech center is vital to this community. You need plumbers, electricians. Has anybody noticed every time somebody says build it, they'll come? They're not coming. They're not here. They're not. You got 19 empty storefronts on the old Main Street, never mind the new Main Street. And it's like, you can't reason with these people because they say, oh, we gotta have this. And then the head of the Booster Club lady had said at the March meeting, which by the way, there was no minutes because I had checked. They're gonna do things differently now, which concerns me. The town of Bennington with the MAU board is gonna want 16 to 18-year-olds to vote on things like this on the local stuff. Really? I remember when I was 16, you get your little foolish stuff. But anyway, make a long story short, you can't keep taxing the hell out of everybody. And the other thing, we're worried about, you've got the Putnam Block, you've got the hospital, they're putting all kinds of money into the, perfect signs and stuff. Did anybody notice there's no doctors? They're not coming. And I've had a hard enough time finding doctors around here, everybody's supposed to all my med. So I'm just bringing this up to where we don't need a turf field. I know a small group of people and want a turf field, I get it. But you know what? What do you need? I'm all for, well, I voted for the new middle school because we did need it. I mean, let's face it, the other place was dumb. But the point of it is, I don't know if people are embarrassed of what we have, but Mount Anthony, as far as I'm concerned, has a lot of things. And I'm proud of the school, and I think they gotta stop worrying about what they don't have and embrace what the hell you do have. Stop worrying about these impressions to get people here, because they're not gonna come. There ain't nothing here, other than this tech center. But seriously, I mean, people gotta start thinking that way. The people don't have the money. Some of these, meeting in March, I'm sorry if I'm going too long, I'll cut it off here shortly. I watched at the March meeting at NEU, a couple of board members basically disrespected this 81-year-old woman that's driving bus, 81, her husband's older, I guess. And they can't, because they want to know what was the reason why people keep voting this down. They don't have the money, and they don't want to work till they're 90 years old if they live that long. And so I just bring it out. It's something to think about. I know they've been out at Mayfest and trying to convince people to get this turf field. Well, I got news to tell you. They want to think twice before they vote for that thing in September. But I'll end it there. I got a lot more, but I'll leave it there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Boom. Okay. We're supposed to have an executive session according to 1 VSA 313A sub A 1BA labor relations with employees contract. Motion to go in executive.
So
Can I just ask that you invite me and have us all into executive session.
Yes, you're both invited. Give me a motion and second.
Yeah.
All in favor going to executive session?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, unanimous. Thank you. Need a motion for the minutes of the full board meeting of June 3rd. Second. Any questions on the minutes? Saying none, all in favor? Aye. Okay, minutes from the RGU special full board meeting Friday, June 14th. Motion,
Move it.
okay? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Payroll warrants 1048, 1049, and 26, 1051, 1052, 1053, 1,000, 1,001, 1,003.
Second.
Any question on the payrolls? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. And vendor warrants 1046, 47, 50, 54, 55, 56, 02, and 04. And second. Okay, second. Any questions on those? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
I'm gonna abstain, the Kathy was in.
Okay, thank you. Cash flow, revenue, and expense treasure, those are included in the paperwork we have and on your Dropbox. Committee reports, update on the audit.
Okay, so, every year there's an audit of the previous fiscal year. And we will be starting the FY 24 audit shortly. So this update is on FY 23's. I have a final copy of the audit, in the Dropbox. I shared a letter to the board regarding the 3 findings of the audit. And I just wanted to highlight, and again, it was in the Dropbox. Some things, it was a letter that was about 4 pages long in the Dropbox. When RHR Smith and Company comes in and does the audit of our financials, last year we had a representative from the audit company come in because it was a newer organization that we worked with and they presented it. We can do that again if you need to. I just wanted to share the findings, and if there's a request to have them come back, they certainly can. If you want a copy of this at the end after the meeting, feel free, you can have a copy of the actual audit and all the financials. On the first page, under significant audit findings, it said, one of the paragraphs at the end, it said, all significant transactions have been recognized in the financial statements in the proper period. So they're saying we're doing it right as far as timeframes, because in the year, any expenses or revenues we incur in that year need to be reflected in that year. I'm just pointing out some highlights to it on the second page. Under the process, it's like the second full paragraph. It says management's process for determining the above estimates is based on firm concepts and reasonable assumptions of both historical and future events. We, being the auditors, evaluate the key factors and assumptions used to develop the estimates and determining that they are reasonable in relation to the financial statements taken as a whole. And again, some of those assumptions are things like what we anticipate depreciation of some of our big equipment, our expensive capital equipment, and things are assumptions regarding pensions and related retirements and accrued compensations, and things like that. Another statement in here shortly below that, the financial statement disclosures are neutral, consistent, and clear. When they ask about difficulties encountered in performing the audit, they stated, we encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management in performing and completing our audit. Under corrected and uncorrected misstatements, it said, we did not identify or propose any adjustments of misstatements as a result of audit procedures that were material, either individually or in the aggregate, to each opinion unit's financial statements taken as a whole. So they didn't find anything that needed to be changed or corrected or modified. We didn't mislead in any way. disagreements with management. It said, we are pleased to report that no such disagreements arose during the course of our audit. On the third page, under the section that says management consultations with other independent accountants, it basically says we didn't reach out to anybody else, that we worked well with this company and we didn't need to consult with other accountants. Under other audit findings or issues, it said that they also provided a separate letter to us, the management, noting they had no recommendations. In other words, everything was fine. They didn't make any recommendations for us to change anything related to how we're handling our financial documents or our process. On the last page, the top paragraph, partway in there, it said, with respect to supplementary information, we made certain inquiries of management and evaluated the form, content, and methods of preparing the information to determine that the information complies with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. When they did that, they found that the information is appropriate and complete, and that when they compared and reconciled the supplemental information to the underlying accounting records used to prepare the financial statements or to the financial statements themselves, they didn't find any errors or any problems with it. There's much more detail in the audit, but basically everything went fine. They didn't find any concerns, any questions about anything. Feel free again. The balance sheets and income statements and all kinds of details are in this, let's see. It's about 85 pages long, audit. We're a smaller school. I can imagine a larger school with the sizes. Are there any questions or any comments about it? I just wanted to update you that FY 23 is done, final, no findings, and we're about to begin FY 24s that ended in June. We're about, next week, we meet with the audit company and start the process all over again for FY 24's audit.
Just want to thank you for all the work you
Yes.
put in to make that a successful audit.
Thank you.
I need a motion to accept that one.
Do we need a motion to accept the audit?
Assessment. It's all done, it's all done, just to make sure.
Okay, action item. First, we'll need a motion to accept the new teacher's contract.
So moved.
Second, discussion. Bill? Yeah.
You can, I think you raised his hand first, but just getting the coin toss.
Have a question?
No.
Okay.
Oh, well, I do.
Yes, go ahead.
I have a comment. I know the goal of the contract and I wanted to say something that everybody, it fulfilled their goal and trying to do what they want to do and standardize things. We have a goal and we have a responsibility, this board do, and these administrators, is to educate the kids in this career development center, because that's where we are right now. We have a job to fill the classrooms. We have a job of responsibility to meet the needs of the community in terms of what jobs are required and what type of education should be provided to these kids. We have to show the community that we are doing that to support that higher rate of increase or the increase that we just voted on for the contract. So this board has some work to do. And mainly in the areas of education to make sure that we support the number of students that are not going on to a secondary, another level of college, and they're staying right here in the community, and there's all kinds of need for special training to help them adjust to what's in this community to support us. In addition to that, the governor has the task force that's now in place in terms of looking at what does education look like in Vermont it should be. And that's started already. And I don't know that I saw any board members from the South, and they might have been on to be in there to look at those particular things. So there's a committee formed to look at what does education look like in Vermont? And it's been going on in 2025. There was a little blip in there about career development, just a little. And we have a responsibility to stand up and talk about what it is and how we affect it from schools to feeder schools in terms of money and everything else. Right now in this program, I mean, in the revamping of the education, what Vermont should have in place. And so every board member was supposed to have gotten an email pointing out these particular things. And so we gotta get up and do that. And the last thing is that some of that will be happening in the regional the district meeting to talk about what it is that's affecting us with the increases that we're now passing on to the taxpayers and what we need to be doing about it and how we should be looking at how we structure things. That is in the works, and we all need to be thinking about how we're gonna manage that. That's all.
Okay, all in favor of accepting, ratifying the teacher's contract?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay, now we need a motion to ratify the Paris contract.
So moved.
Second that,
Okay, second,
with the same comments for the first one.
all in favor of accepting the Paris contract? Raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Okay, we have a nomination for a manufacturing teacher, a Mr. Justin Mizell.
Yes, so I'd like to bring forth the nomination for Justin Mizell for our new manufacturing technologies teacher. Justin, actually, we met him 3 years ago when he applied for the position, but unfortunately did not have the years of experience that he would need in order to earn the CTE endorsement. So he was still interested, which was great. Justin has been involved in, worked for machining companies since 2015. He's worked in manufacturing since 2018. And most recently, he currently works at Mac Molding. Justin is very passionate about the field. A lot of his recommendations raved about that the fact that he's the go-to guy when a new employee comes in to do training, which is a sign of a really good teacher. Justin also has a year of experience teaching at a career in tech ed college in the manufacturing world, where he needed to create the curriculum from nothing to something. So we're very excited to have Justin come aboard. And again, as I said, is very passionate about the field, and we're excited to have him. He was interviewed by myself, Becky Tattersall, Ron Bonney, Lisa Harrington Redding, and Nick Delory.
Okay, can we have a motion then to accept the nomination of Justin Mizell?
Second.
Second. Any other questions?
Comments. That's all with the comments. We have some challenges in pointing out some of the things in terms of the restrictions of what it is that's required for the field position. And I know we have a waiver process out there that says certain things we can apply for an apprenticeship, things that they don't have. But there are some other things in the process that when we write up the invitation to ask for people to apply for the job, we may need to look at how do we write that so that we won't deter somebody from applying for that job that may have an opportunity to take a waiver or deviation to some of the stricter things that we have in the job requirements. That's again going back to the fact that what education's supposed to look like in Vermont is in the process and in the works. And all these things should be up to be challenged and be part of that, the new educational system for Vermont.
Okay, all in favor of the nomination of Justin, raise your hand.
Aye.
Anyone against? Thank you. Superintendent report.
Okay, here I go. I'd like to start by giving an update on, adult ed programs that have been going on. It's been pretty busy actually this summer, here in the building. At the beginning of July, we had a 2-week butchering class, which was well attended, and that was offered by our chef Lori. It was pretty successful. August 6th through 7th, we ran a heavy equipment for Vermont Local Roads program. And that was taught by our forestry and heavy equipment teacher, Eric Bishop. August 20th to 22nd coming up, we have an intro to welding for Vermont Local Roads program, and that's taught by Tim Holland. We will have a new CDL class starting August 21st, and the instructor will be our very own Bruce Miles. The massage program will start August 27th with Laura Morley, who's teaching that in the evening. Very excited about that new program. And another cohort of LNA starts September 10th with Cindy Mars, who's still our instructor for that. So adult ed is certainly thriving. You didn't get a chance to walk in the building tonight because many of you were running in out of the rain. But if you walk through the building, you would notice that you're squeaking on the floors. And squeaking on the floors to me is always a sign that school's about to start, because that means the floors have been freshly waxed. It's always the sign of a new school year. So next week, we look forward to welcoming teachers back on Monday. 9th graders will start on Wednesday, and then all of the other students will start on Thursday, with the exception of Hoosick Falls. They won't start until after Labor Day. On Monday, we'll kick off with a faculty meeting, and then the rest of the day, the teachers will have in their area to prep for the start of the school year. We'll also, on Monday, meet with paraeducators to sort of review schedules and transportation, because we do provide transportation for many of our off-campus sending school students. On Tuesday, we have an old friend coming back, Linda Jackson, who's an educational consultant. We were first introduced to Linda when she worked for SRUB, and she came and did some training with our teachers on curriculum mapping. She also helped us implement the center-wide advisory committee events that we offer every year. She was instrumental in helping us plan that, which has turned out to be quite successful for a number of years. So Linda will be meeting with teachers on Tuesday, and she will work with them on creating curriculum pacing guides, which will then assist them in implementing or integrating our ACT WorkKeys curriculum into their programs, which is definitely a goal that we have, that I have, as well as it's also written in our Perkins grant that we'll integrate that curriculum so that our WorkKey scores continue to improve. So she'll be doing that. She may also at the end of that day spend a little bit of time talking about recruitment, trying to sort of develop some fresh new ideas around recruitment. While teachers are meeting with Linda, the paraeducators are going to do some crisis prevention intervention training with our own Paul Redding, who is certified in CPI training. because our paraeducators a lot of times are, you know, sort of the first line of defense with some students, and, that just makes sense to give them some training. Wednesday, Linda will be back to do some one-on-one meetings with some teachers, in particular, Justin, who's a new teacher, as well as our math interventionist. And then ninth graders are on campus, and then Thursday, everyone's back except, Hoosick Falls. As far as professional development, this school year, we'll continue to work at integrating the ACT work keys into the curriculum throughout the school year. We do have other professional development days in our school calendar. One of the focuses, as I mentioned before, will be on recruitment and recruitment strategies. Also a particular focus on non-traditional students, you know, having female students in building trades and female students in forestry and male students in medical professions. We'll also be looking at offering some professional development on teaching strategies to increase industry recognized credential attainment, helping teachers sort of figure out various ways that they can teach their content and hopefully improve the attainment of IRCs for their students. And many of our schools are moving towards no cell phones in schools. So I believe Sandy did reach out to Asher, but, we should probably do a policy committee meeting soon, just to sort of talk about where we're going with that. It's kind of my report.
Thank you. Okay, I'll start. I received this letter addressed to myself and Meg. It says, please accept this letter as my resignation from Southwest Tech. It has been a privilege serving with you, since March of 2020. It's to support career ed throughout Southwest Tech. However, starting this fall, I will be furthering my own education by pursuing a Juris Doctor at Vermont Law School in South Royalton. Due to the intense workload I anticipate with this change, I do not believe I will be able to continue fulfilling my duties as a member of this board. Please share my appreciation with the entire Southwest Tech team for their continued work, strengthening the regional workforce and providing individuals with pathways to high-quality careers. Signed, Dane Whitman. And as the clerk of the board, you'll have to send a thank you in regards.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Secondly, I want to mention that in October, the Vermont School Board Association, Leon's usually our representative, will be having their annual meeting at Lake Morley. If anybody's interested, if you haven't received the information from the VSBA, you could go online, VSBA Vermont, and sign up there. And the registration, everything can be handled within hours. And finally, something that's really burning me is that you know that we had, what, 17–18% increase in health insurance for the teachers this year. Watching on TV, up in Burlington, the Care Board of Vermont approved a 20% increase for the coming year. Now, I went online and looked. Right now, family plan for the teachers is $3,400 a month, which we pay 80%. Now, if you add 20% to that, which, by the way, that comes out to $40,000. If you add 20% to that, that's another $8 for the following year. It'd be $48,000 for health insurance for the teacher's top plan. Now, these people up in Burlington and Montpelier keep saying, we don't know what to do. You know, our hands are tied, and all this baloney. Well, I think they should contact the king of pay your fair share, Bernie Sanders. Because I get Medicare, Medicaid, and so forth, and I just want to give you an example. Here's a bill for $1,600 billed by our local hospital. They got paid $150. That's one of our federal government plans. Here's another bill, $17,000 government paid 5,000, 12,000. I gotta eat. I think if they wanna solve this problem, Bernie and, Phelan and, Welch have to push the federal government so they pay their fair share. I mean, when I talked to Mr. G at the hospital, he says 75% of the people are Medicare and Medicaid. And they're getting 25 cents on the dollar for their bills. So what does that have? The teachers and all the other people in private industry who have Blue Cross and so forth, they're subsidizing the system. And I don't think that's fair. I think the government should pay at least 50% of what's billed and not 25%. And I think that would make a big difference to strengthening our hospitals, probably getting better and get the doctors that you mentioned and stuff like that. So, you know, there's not much we can do about it, I guess, but just keep screaming and yelling, and hopefully that someone hears us and they can, you know, help out and, increase the payments for Medicare, Medicaid, VA and so forth, because 25 cents on a dollar doesn't cut it. It just leaves our poor hospitals in dire need and, you know, reading about it, I mean, just about every hospital in Vermont's in the hole, they're asking for big increases because they can't make ends meet themselves. That's all I have to say. Don't forget the VSBA convention there in Lake Forest. Anybody have individual? Yes?
Just kind of keep in mind, we've had a board member resign. As a board, you have choices of either filling the seat or leaving it vacant until the next election. So as a board, there needs to be at some point a discussion of what you want to do to move forward now that we are absent one board member.
I think they have 30 days to fill it.
Yeah, right. So I just want to kind of bring that up so everybody's thinking about that and, you know, maybe
I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's fair to put someone in for 3 months and give them an advantage when the next election comes. I think the major thing we're gonna be doing is a budget, and anybody new won't even know what that means when a budget is. So myself, I just think we can go with 10 people and be successful in what we do, and I don't know what the rest of them.
I agree. It's doable.
But thank you for bringing that up. Leon?
I just wanted to make sure I clarified that the name that's going on is the Commission on the Future of Public Education. And that's the steering committee group that's meeting, that met August 5th with that, and they have their own website where you can go and look at all the minutes and all the things that are going on. I've been going on every now and then myself, looking at some things. And so you can have an opportunity to speak up, to take a way to get to kind of way.
What?
It's on.
You have anything to say, John, at all?
Did you want to add anything, John?
Well, I don't want to put any monkey wrenches in here, but the bylaws state that the vacancy shall be filled within 30 days, but that I think that if you don't have a candidate that doesn't, that you don't have to follow that you basically, if somebody were to apply, you would be required to decide whether to accept them or not within the 30 days. But if there is no applicant or you don't have a suitable candidate that's gone through the vetting process and you've considered, you know, what part of the business community they represent and all that stuff, that you do not need to fill that vacancy until the election. So.
Thank you. Well, I've been on boards before where someone resigned, but they didn't bother refilling it. Anything else people want to bring up? Seeing none, is there a motion for adjournment?
Sorry.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.